Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 16 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Still going to use Wolfe's team. We're just going to climb back up onto the ladder and see what we can find. Probably going to switch to a new team in a couple of days or so. But yeah, huge shoutouts once again to Wolfe for letting me use it. If you have not seen his YouTube videos and his new YouTube channel, definitely check it out. As I've mentioned in the previous episodes, it's just some incredible content, and I'm pretty busy, so it's nice to see other people like him make some incredible content. And we're going to find El Miguel to start off today's episode with a really cool team, actually. I'm really excited for this one. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share your support by leaving a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Opponent here is rocking a team of Sableye, Mewtwo, Talonflame, Groudon, Espeon, and Ferrothorn. So, three things stick out to me here: the Mewtwo, the Espeon, and the Sableye. Excuse me, oh my gosh. That was a big sneeze. Let's see. if I were Wolfe, I would talk about the color synergy, which is actually something I always pay attention to, like, for fun, so I thought it was pretty amusing. Wolfe also pays attention to it. Like, I like all my Pokemon to be different colors. Here, my opponent's got a bunch of purple Pokemon and a bunch of red, but let's see. Sableye's pretty big threat. Espeon gets Magic Bounce. Mewtwo could have Ice Beam, and is most likely the Mega Evolution, though Sableye could be the Mega Evolution as well. Ferrothorn on my opponent's side is a major issue. Might need Dialga for that, but Groudon and Talonflame... No, I mean, Groudon in particular, not the most fun Pokemon to see. I like the idea of Thundurus as a lead to Thunderbolt or Taunt. I kind of like Salamence there, just to get an Intimidate off, and Hyper Voice, because bar the Mewtwo, otherwise I have a pretty good time. Definitely going to want Kyogre in this one. For the last one, I feel like I kind of have to bring Dialga, because otherwise I have no way to beat Ferrothorn. That's a major issue, so yeah. As much as it sucks leaving Landorus and Ferrothorn in the back, I can't really bring it in this matchup. I feel like, at least in a best of one. You know, I talk a lot about best of one versus best of three because all top play is best of three basically at this point. And so those are some things to consider. But we're going to see the Sableye Mewtwo lead. Really not sure what to expect here because Mewtwo has so many different options and you never know until you really get into the battle. So that's going to be a little bit stressful. It is going to be the fastest Pokemon right now. We could see a Fake Out, could see a Quash, could see Taunt from Sableye. So a bunch of options. But I don't think he can deal too well with Dialga, so turn 1 I'm going to play the safe play of going for the Protect and switching out into Dialga. Oh, but he actually withdraws Mewtwo, interesting. Is Groudon coming in? Yeah. Oh, that was a nice play. Very nicely done. So maybe predicting a Thunder Wave or something of the sorts, but it works out really nicely for him. Because, yeah, I mean, if I stayed in and just, like, protected with Salamence, that would have been maybe better. Scout out from what Mewtwo does, because at least Salamence can put on pressure with Hyper Voice. So instead I play a little bit passive, and my opponent puts himself into an excellent position with Sableye and Groudon both out. So I'm going to bring in Dialga. Let's see what the Sableye goes for. Because both Sableye and Mewtwo are Pokemon, you really have to figure their movesets out. Oh, and he's spamming Confuse Ray right from the get-go. That is not a fun sight to see. Okay, so we're going to see a Confuse Ray. Switch out into Salamence is kind of obvious, but I'm still going to taunt Sableye. And I'm still going to switch back out into Mence, because Groudon really can't do too much against Mence. I mean, maybe you can Eruption here. Maybe I should have switched out into Mence and Kyogre. Actually, yeah, in retrospect, that's the play I would have made. Should have done that. But I guess I was a little bit scared of Sableye just spamming too many Confuse Rays, though given like he just went for the Confuse Ray, it's most likely that he's got Mental Orb, which is going to be a problem. And if my opponent's smart, he might have also gone for a Rock Slide here, or an Eruption. No Protect or Switch Outs here, so I'm going to get the Taunt off, but most likely we'll have the Mental Orb. Yep. As predicted, he's probably going to... Ooh, he goes for the Leer. That's a cool move. That's going to decrease my defense. We're going to see a Rock Slide? Of both of my Pokemon. No, he goes for the Precipice Blades. Okay, good. So at least that works out. That will allow me to taunt Sableye once again. I think here I'm just going to Hyper Voice. Yeah, I like that. I put myself into a pretty okay position. I was not expecting Leer, but that's really cool to see. But we could also see Foul Play come out from Sableye, which I think is going to happen right now. Let's see. Because, I mean, you have to see the taunt coming here. So you can Foul Play into Mence. Oh, he just went for the Leer. Okay. Kind of surprising, but obviously I'm not going to complain about that, as I get some nice damage. He does have Rock Slide, though. That's going to do a lot of damage to both of my Pokemon. Actually, not as much as I anticipated there, but nice. So, with that, I'm going to go for another Hyper Voice. I think I'm just going to... I don't know if Double Edge knocks him out. And I don't want to like Double Edge and then faint from recoil, so I'm actually going to protect Hyper Voice. I do really want to conserve Thundurus for the potential Thunder Wave on his Mewtwo, because that's a pretty major threat. And he's actually going to switch out, but that's fine, because he's going to be taking a lot of damage, and this is actually kind of what I was hoping for, because then the next turn I can go for like Protect with my Salamence and Thunder Wave the Mewtwo. So far so good, but this game is still pretty tricky. He's not going to protect Groudon, which, you know, is fine. Yeah, he's going to hang on with a little bit of HP there. Rock Slide coming out. Gonna target both both Pokemon. Yeah, Salamence hangs on. Now you've got mind games, you know, like do you predict the Protect? I think I'm actually going to Thunder Wave and Hyper Voice. I think Mewtwo protects here. If it doesn't, I mean, okay, let's say it protects, then I just knock out Groudon and I'm in a fantastic position. If it doesn't protect, then I get a Thunder Wave off. He has to target down Salamence. I could lose both of my Pokemon, which is obviously bad. He's going to Mega Evolve, okay. So we find out it is Mega Mewtwo-Y, which I really don't know too much about. So kind of cool to go up against one of those. He protects Groudon. That's interesting. I'm okay with that, I think. So I get the Thunder Wave off here, which is great, obviously. What is Mewtwo going for? He goes for like a Blizzard, I swear. Nah, here's a Side Strike coming out. If he targets on okay, he's going to be smart and target out Mens, but I think the Protect play on Groudon was actually kind of bad. He could have picked up a double knockout there, so maybe a slight misplay on my opponent's end there. It does give me the opportunity to now bring in Kyogre. However, I can't go for a attack onto the Groudon. Like Thunder Wave and Thunderbolt obviously don't do anything. Taunt's not that helpful either. Chances are his Groudon's faster, so that's kind of an annoying deal, but can't do too much, I don't think. So I'm gonna just... He might Precipice Blades. I'm just gonna Thunderbolt. Water Spout. Yeah. He's probably... I mean... Could Rock Slide, hope for a flinch. Oh, or switch out. That's even better for me, because whatever's coming in is going to take a ton of damage. He hasn't revealed his 4th Pokemon yet, so I'm really curious about that. He's going to Protect with Mewtwo. That's fine. I don't really mind him swapping out the... though I guess then I can't use a Water-type attack, which is kind of interesting. But I do knock out Sableye at least, which is pretty good. I'm hoping his last one's Ferrothorn, because that's the only reason I brought Dialga, really. Though Dialga matches up pretty nicely against Mewtwo as well. So there's a knockout there. 3-3 now. Thunder is pretty low. His Groudon low. Ooh, it's going to be Talonflame. That's a good sight to see. Still tricky. Because you could switch out into Groudon. I wonder if he's like... If I can outspeed with Thundurus, that'd be interesting as well. Because here, I think you might want to switch out into Groudon. So, I'm going to Thunderbolt, Talonflame, and Ice Beam Mewtwo, expecting Mewtwo to switch out into Groudon. Nice. So, if he Brave Birds Kyogre, then the game's outright over since I pick up a double knockout. Even if not, though, I'll still have Weather Control, which is good. And then, no, we'll see. Depends on what Talonflame does here. He's going to Brave Bird. Is he going to target down Kyogre or Thundurus? Yep, target down Thundurus. It's a good play there. We kind of trade knockouts, but I get the Dialga in. So as long as he doesn't critical hit me here in the late game, since he's Life Orb, I should have the game won. Yeah, I don't know. I think he could have had an excellent chance to win this match if he didn't Protect with Groudon that turn, but maybe he was expecting me to be faster. Maybe he was scared of like a random hidden power water coming out. So yeah, the one fear I was fearing from my opponent's end was if he like protected protected Mewtwo and just Brave Birded, because then next turn is kind of weird. But yeah, it works out fine now. He's gonna bring in his Mewtwo and his Talonflame is out. Probably gonna just Brave Bird here. So I am just gonna Dragon Pulse and Scald. Could protect Talonflame if he has it. Nope, he's going for the Flare Blitz. That should be game unless he gets a crit and a burn. You know, even with that, I still win, I think. Yeah, Dialga is so bulky. Hangs on with over 50% there. So that should be game. I wish we saw more out of that Mewtwo, honestly. Sableye was pretty cool. We did see the Leer strategy, and it decreased both of my defenses, which I actually forgot about. I thought it was only one Pokemon, so kind of neat to see that. Sableye is a really fun Pokemon that utilizes a lot of support moves, and it's very hard to predict, and it's done well at the World Championships before. So Mewtwo actually gets fully paralyzed there, so kind of a shame we didn't get to see any of its other moves, but yeah, this game was definitely, I think, closer than the score indicated. And that's because my opponent's turn 1 play was really good, swapping out the Mewtwo and putting Groudon in to put himself into a better position, and that obviously was pretty rough on me since I brought Dialga. In the end, we actually didn't see Ferrothorn make an appearance, which I'm kind of surprised about, but I guess my team had Pokemon that can threaten Ferrothorn. You know, you've got Intimidate on Landorus and potential Fire-type attack Pokemon in Dialga and Salamence, so it's a reason to keep Ferrothorn on the bench for my opponent's end. So we do pick up a win there. Let's see what we find for our next game of today's episode. Otherwise, I'm pretty content with that. I think the first turn maybe I should have double protected. That might have been the better option just to see if the Groudon switched out, which ended up, you know, he did end up making that switch, but getting the Intimidate was huge also because it negated the Leer. But gonna find another Japanese opponent. This one's also a really cool team because of the Gyarados. Have not seen Gyarados since VGC 20... actually, there were a couple in 2015, I guess. But, of course, Mega Gyarados on Sage and Park's team did win the 2014 World Championships. Gyarados is a Pokemon that's always had some success. It actually got 9th at the 2012 World Championships on Hui Ha's team, but that year was really different. It had, like, choice specs and really caught a lot of opponents off guard with its special type moveset, especially Blizzard. So here are my opponents rocking your typical Groudon Xerneas, but supporting cast of Salamence, Ferrothorn, Gyarados, and the Liepard. So that's pretty interesting. Seeing Mence is good here. You know, Dialga matches up very nicely against Mence and Ferrothorn, so I think Dialga definitely a Pokemon I might want to bring into this matchup. Thundurus is always tempting. You know, when you bring those, you just have to really watch out. I might go with the same 4. Landorus, yeah, I don't know if Landorus is that good because he's got dual Intimidate. So I think I'm going to lead with Thundurus and Dialga. Ferrothorn is tempting here because it's a great way to knock out the Xerneas. But I still like Men's Kyogre a little bit more. It's so difficult. I know, like, Wolfe's obviously mastered using this team, given that he was able to win regionals with it. Maybe not mastered, but he obviously can play it very well, and I know he loves bringing Ferrothorn. And it's kind of ironic since I brought Ferrothorn to Worlds the last few years, but I think it's tricky when to decide whether you want to give up offense for it. So this is actually a really fantastic lead matchup. Thundurus and Dialga against his Salamence and his Liepard. So Intimidate obviously not doing anything to either of my Pokemon. We might just see a switch out turn 1. I think there's a good chance we see Groudon come in right now. Or Xerneas. So I'm actually going to go for the Thunder Wave and the Dragon Pulse onto the Liepard, since I really don't care right now about the Salamence slot. You know, you can Fire type attack, you can Hyper Voice, Draco Meteor, Double Edge, but none of those really do too much against either of my Pokemon. And I think if you're my opponent, you're probably going to want to conserve your Salamence, especially if he's carrying a Fire type attack, in case for the Ferrothorn. He does switch out into Groudon as predicted, so I'm okay with that, because it means I'll be able to get either Paralysis or free damage off against the Liepard, and what that means is, you know, I can then taunt him. I guess I could have taunted him even before, but I just like to slow things down, put the pace into my favor. With Kyogre and Mence in the back, I can also double switch out this next turn. Liepard, of course, might want to foul play at some point. He's going to go for the fake out. Smartly onto Thundurus, which I maybe should have considered because it does break my Focus Sash, but I'm okay with that. Gonna get some free damage off here with Dragon Pulse. Wow, they're doing a lot more than I actually expected there, which is quite nice. So here I'm gonna go for the Thunderbolt. He doesn't expect me to be faster, most likely, and I'm gonna switch out into Mence, get that first Intimidate off. Could have Rock Slide, but otherwise, once again, can't really touch me. If he Eruptions, that would be a really good move. But then I just get the free switch in, and the Intimidate against Groudon is huge because as Dialga and Kyogre are bulky enough already, you know, both of them being able to take, I think, 3 Precipice Blades, considering Dialga has Citrus Berry, then the Intimidate just makes it even more difficult for Groudon and, you know, forces him to connect with more Precipice Blades. Of course, could be the special variant. Like I said, last game we might have seen an Eruption, you know, if my opponent was running it. So you never know about that. But the Dragon Pulse there is really nice. Breaks the Liepart's potential Focus Sash here, and he can't Encore me into anything either. So you could see something like a Swagger come out, especially given that Dialga's switching out, meaning that Liepart's going to stay in. But more importantly, I get the Intimidate off, and since Liepart's not expecting me to be fast, I think I'll most likely be able to pick up a knockout here, unless he goes for... he's actually going to go for the Thunder Wave, and he targets down the Dialga slot. Ugh, that one hurts. Good move. I wonder if we also don't see a Precipice Blades then, and my opponent predicted that goes for a Fire type attack. There's a Flamethrower coming out, but I'm okay with that. Doubling up into Dialga. Smart. So that was a great play. Flamethrower coming out really makes me wonder what the last two moves on Groudon are. Here's Mence on my opponent's side, not much of a surprise. But I think what I can do here is Thunder Wave his Mence. And switch out into Kyogre. That way, he can't touch my Thundurus unless he has Rock Slide. I think here, if you're my opponent, you might want to protect your Mence. Or you can be smart and predict the switch out, which I think is very possible as well. But regardless, by getting in Kyogre in, suddenly I'm protecting my Thundurus a lot more. And neither of his Pokemon can do too much against Thundurus with the Rain Up. Of course, Thundurus can't touch Groudon right now, and Groudon's most likely faster than Kyogre, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, the Thunder Wave on Liepard onto Salamence was a huge deal there. It was a great move by my opponent. He's going to Mega Evolve, indicating to me... I mean, he could do it for the sake of speed, which would make sense, but we might see an attack here. Let's see if I get the Thunder Wave off first of all. Okay, so he doesn't protect. You get the Thunder Wave off, but he's going to get 2 attacks off. He might have predicted the Kyogre switch and gone for a Double Edge, which would be bad. Okay, he goes for Outrage, which I guess I'm okay with because fortunately enough he didn't target down the Kyogre, but that's pretty ridiculous. Wow. Was not expecting that. Okay, let's see. So he's the slowest Pokemon now, so I can just Ice Beam. I think... his last one's most likely Xerneas, which I want to keep into consideration. Yeah. So I could bring in Mence right now. No, I like Dialga more, actually, I think. I mean, sure, he can Precipice Blades, but I got the Intimidate off. I think I'm gonna just Dragon Pulse here and Water Spout. Because if you switch out Groudon, yeah, which he does, then I just pick up a double knockout. Or not a double knockout, but I'll do a ton of damage. Oh, it's Ferrothorn! That's even better. Excellent. Yeah, so I can just Flamethrower him. And Water Spout already does a lot of damage there. Nice. But yeah, I mean, I want to talk about Outrage obviously on Salamence because it's not a very common move in VGC. I know it's more common probably in singles. I remember when I played singles back in the day, it was a pretty good move on Pokemon like Garchomp. But in VGC, it's not good because you can't choose which Pokemon it targets, and obviously you're stuck outraging for the consequent turn. So had to target down Kyogre there might have been a little bit trickier. I mean, of course the game's not over yet, but things definitely are in my favor a little bit right now. Okay. So here you probably want to gonna Precipice Blades. Wow, cannot speak there. I think I'm just gonna actually Flamethrower and switch out into Mence. Because basically I actually have to knock out the Ferrothorn before Kyogre comes back in, which is important, but I need to cycle in the Intimidates right now. So it'd be a really good move if my opponent predicts this, protects Ferrothorn, and goes for like a Flamethrower. That'd be really cool. Let's see. Nope, he just Precipice Blades. So as long as he doesn't crit here, I knock out Ferrothorn, and that should be GG. Okay, no crit. Nice. Always, like, hold my breath. If he protected there, that also would have been a pretty good play, but instead he just decided to go all in. Maybe wasn't expecting Flamethrower, and that's a knockout. That's exactly why Wolfe ran Flamethrower on Dialga, which I think is really important. I think actually it was the best move possible for the Dialga. I could have run maybe a Steel-type move like Iron Head or Flash Cannon, but a Flamethrower just really checks the Steel types. So with that, Game's basically over. I'm just gonna Dragon Pulse and don't want to carelessly lose my Kyogre in the back. Like if you switch Kyogre in, get crit by Precipice Blades, and I don't know, like Salamence gets fully paralyzed, something could happen. But no, my opponent's just gonna realize there's not much he can do, and we're gonna be able to pick up the win. So, two pretty nice wins in today's episode. Really great games, both of them. That last one was definitely pretty interesting, and the first one was really cool because of the Mewtwo and the Sableye combination, which we really don't see too much of in VGC. Mewtwo was actually on one of the winning regional teams, I think, over in Europe earlier on in the season. So obviously, pretty cool Pokemon, but maybe we'll explore that on a future team. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's definitely a lot of fun, also on the shorter end, but yeah, we'll try to climb up into the 1700s real soon. Go check out Wolfe, as I mentioned, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to leave a like. Peace.